Mixtape, a game developed by Beethoven Dinosaur and published by Annapurna Interactive, was released on May 7, 2026. The game is a narrative adventure game where you play as a group of friends during their final night before adulthood. This game has gotten overwhelming amounts of praise from the game journalists, with many rating it nothing lower than a 9. I'm here to tell you, it's nowhere near a 9. I'm Tom the Wizard Man, and this is the Fake Wizards review of Mixtape. If this video provides you any value at all, please like and subscribe, as we're making many reviews every single week. In Mixtape, you play as Stacy Rockford, a recently graduated high school senior, experiencing her final day of adolescence alongside her friends, Cassandra and Slater, through her specially curated music playlist, or Mixtape if you will. Stacy is an aspiring music supervisor, and throughout the game you play through her memories and different moments of the night that are themed around specific songs. The story focuses on what is supposed to be the last hurrah of high school as Stacy and friends seek to pre-game a large summer party before going on their own paths. However, tensions arise when it's revealed that Stacy is leaving in the morning for an opportunity in New York City to become a protege in the music supervisor field. Originally, the trio had made a plan to do a road trip through California during the summer break, with the last stop of the trip being a drop-off at the college that Cassandra will be attending. This shift in plans causes a division between Stacy and Cassandra, and the falling out jeopardizes not only Stacy's final night, but their own friendship. What drama? Will Stacy save her friendship, get to the party, and have their hit? The premise of a retrospect looking back at the final moments of high school that's tailored to the music that was playing during the day isn't bad conceptually. From a cinematic standpoint, there's a lot of cool ways you can play with scenes by having the music be diegetic, or layering on further meaning to the moment and scene. In review, I remember hearing it explained that this game is like playing through several music videos. I think conceptually that would work too, but this game fails not only on a story level, but on a gameplay level. The conflict between characters boils down to each girl's not getting their way. Stacy's night isn't going the way she curated her soundtrack to be, and Cassandra is upset that Stacy isn't going on the road trip that ends with dropping her off at college. To the credit of this game, it does a wonderful job at establishing and highlighting the naive and foolish issues that high schoolers create. Their framework for what is truly important isn't fully developed. Their understanding of life is small from how little they've actually lived. However, I don't think that was part of this game's intent. These characters are insufferable, self-entitled idiots. They fight over non-issues that could be fixed with minor communication, believe themselves to be superior to those around them while engaging in youthful degeneracy, but there's no real point to say, hey, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about. These characters and their outlooks and beliefs aren't really challenged. The game doesn't take the time to talk about how their perception of reality is wrong, and by virtue frames the things that they're talking about as correct. Because in the one instant where an authority figure does try to intervene, the character ultimately rolls over, allowing them to continue on their path. These characters suck. Stacy is a know-it-all who judges people on their music tastes. She actively views characters as inferior for not engaging with music to the same degree as her. She uses her music as a medium to capture memories, making it easier to look back to, but in several instances, she's more upset that the situation isn't lining up with her music than she's actually upset about her friends. In one scene, Cassandra is yelled at and grounded by her father, where he threatens to cancel her road trip and force her to change colleges. Stacy's response to Cassandra, after literally listening to it, is to accost her for now not being able to go to the party and ruining her soundtrack. She doesn't try to offer any sympathies or concerns about a friend getting yelled at. All that matters to her is her experience, her soundtrack. The reveal of her leaving to New York for her dreams uproots the road trip plans the friend group had, which was extensively planned out. She downplays her friend's disappointments and feelings of betrayal. During her argument with Cassie, she literally says, "You should be happy for me," disregarding how the others are taking the situation for her own self-gratification. Cassandra's a rebel who's predicated on doing the things that she wants to do. She became friends with Stacy and Slater as an act of rebellion from her parents, who viewed the two of them as degenerates that would only jeopardize her future. They weren't necessarily wrong in that assessment. Because of Stacy and Slater, she TPs their principal's house leading to detention, is enabled to get drunk to the point of requiring a shopping cart to escape the cops, and takes pride in property damage. Cassandra's story is about trying to break free from her overbearing parents and live her own life. The characters paint Cassandra's parents out to be unreasonably strict, but from the brief moments we see into her life, they're very clearly just concerned for their daughter's future. Her father is a police officer who grounds her during the events of the story in an attempt to stop her from attending the party that seemingly all of the youth are going to try and protect her. He questions whether she's responsible enough to go away to college, and he doesn't know if he can trust her not to just party and get drunk all the time. All of these are reasonable actions and concerns from a parent. But to Cassandra, they're chaining her down. During the final act, Cassandra confronts her father by telling him that if he doesn't let her go, she will, and I quote, burn the whole effing place down, while there is an active fire behind her. During her fight with Stacy, Cassandra brings up that Jenny is replacing Stacy's spot in the road trip specifically to hurt Stacy. Stacy is already upset about not going on the road trip, but is more upset that she's being replaced with someone that she vehemently dislikes. She lies for her own convenience, is incredibly dismissive, disregards other people's wishes and agreements for her own emotions, and threatens to commit arson in retaliation of her father's grounding. Slater is your input stereotype for an airhead stoner. He's the moderator and more reasonable member of the group, but he also has a sequence where he drunkenly stumbles through a VHS store and knocks down all of the VHSs. Because of that, he sucks. All of these characters suck. These characters and their issues work in the framework that these are the things that high schoolers would be fighting over, but the reactions to it and the way they act isn't endearing. I dislike all of these characters. Having the window that we view into these kids' lives be when they think they know everything, but not include the reality check of life that they will experience, isn't romanticizing a time where you didn't have responsibilities. It's romanticizing a time where you didn't have accountability. As for gameplay, it's barely there. Most of this game, honestly, is walking around and pressing a button to interact with an object for the character to say a line or cutscene to play. It's an interactable movie, but the interactivity part of it is so menial, it feels weird referring to this as a game. You control the headbanging in the car, taking pictures, and skateboarding. However, there are several sequences you can physically do nothing and still succeed. In fact, trying to move often leads to you crashing and needing to restart. The controls are floaty. There's not a ton of gameplay. You would think that the times that you do play, they would have at least tight controls, but no, they couldn't even do that. This game is compared to John Hughes' coming-of-age films, but I feel like that's disingenuous. Most coming-of-age films have some sort of lesson learned, whether that be the characters learning about themselves or the world around them. There's no lesson to be learned from Mixtape, and if there is, it certainly isn't a good one. This game's goal is to invoke emotions out of the player based off their own childhood, which it should have been able to accomplish with its story, but it doesn't. Instead, its use of music is their supplement for the player to connect to because the characters they wrote suck. Having good music does not equate to having a good game. I will give this game credit that it looks good visually. There's a lot of moments where it does feel like the developers put passion into this game that it should be considered art, but again, just because it's art doesn't mean it's good. I give it a 3 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.